Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the 2025 USARA National Championship here from Bentonville, Arkansas. I'm Doug Silk. I'm the host for all the live events. You can follow us at AR.watch, but right now we're all live here at USARA.com and on YouTube. And man, have we had an exciting morning already. Not expecting it to be super exciting, to be honest with you. The opening trek was a 13-mile trek through some wilderness that started out at a lake, and they're moving up to a paddle section, or a two-part paddle section. But the lead racers had a really difficult time right from the jump. If you go back and look at the tracking, the lead teams, including Wadali, Rootstock, Strong Machine, a lot of teams had a really difficult times getting to CP3 and then getting up to CP4. Wadali, if you take a look at the tracker that we're going to show you right here, they made a huge error where instead of taking the avenue that went up to the right, which is the path that most people took, they actually went to the left and hit another trail system that is right in there and got confused and thought they were going in the right direction until all of a sudden they ended up back in view of the lake that they started at. I would imagine that for even the most professional of racers, that was a gut punch because they were going super fast. And a lot of times in adventure racing, we talk about going at the right speed to make smart decisions. And you'll probably talk to them after the race and they'll tell you, we just blew right by it, missed the turn. And that's can happen when you're in the lead, right? There's no other footprints to go off of. That creek bed could have been dry, where on the map it looks like there was a little bit of a dotted creek, but Wadali missed it. And that error cost them big time because Grit Racing with Jesse Spangler, they took off and they went the right way. So him and Andrea and that team, like they were probably 30 minutes ahead because Wadali had to circle all the way back around to the bottom and then start back up and then pass all the teams that were moving their way up. The tracker now looks a little bit more like, you know, you dropped a bunch of sprinkles on the floor when you were making cupcakes. That's another shout out to my son's cupcakes from earlier. But right now, what you're seeing is you're seeing teams make strategic decisions. Unless you were looking to really clear the course, these teams are making decisions to stay on roads, maybe stay on known trails and not go up and after some of these CPs. But the lead teams are moving really strong. You know, we talked about the tracker not always being 100% accurate, but right now, I would say that the teams that they have up at the top, like in the mixed gender, Grit is definitely in the lead. High Point, Sikubu, Sit, Big Dogs, they're all moving their way in the same kind of breath. What you don't see because the women's rankings are below, Women of AR is right in that same breath of air. If we can focus in a little bit, so if that's Women of AR. Now, go over to the right a little bit, Jeff. CP5. CP5, between CP5 and CP12, there were multiple checkpoints there. And what you can see that Women of AR did is they went up to 5, then they came down and they got those points back up, but now they're having to kind of backtrack, right? Some of the teams actually went the north route, which was that recommended route that's on the tracker. For those of you at home, just so you understand, when you're looking at this enabled tracking live page, that green line or the line that you see is a recommended route that is just issued by the tracker. It doesn't mean that racers are going to go that way. So if your team is not following that line, that means nothing. It doesn't mean they're lost until they're lost. We've had some teams that have kind of gone offline and figured themselves out and righted the ship already. But I think what you're seeing here are teams making strategic decisions to drop points and trying to take a more direct route up to the next TA where they're going to get to put in for the paddle section. You can see the teams here. They're kind of staying on a road. They're not going after all of those difficult points that are in re-entrances and hilltops and things like that. And, in a race like this, you're going to end up racing alongside people, I think, a lot more than you're not, because there's so many teams. We started out officially, they had 78 teams. I think 75 started today. And so there are 75 teams out there, and that means over 200 people out on the course. You're going to see people and hear people when you're, super close to each other. It's been, 3.5 hours since the race start. We thought that maybe the fast teams would be done in 3.5 to 4 hours. And if we can focus in on where Grit is right now on the tracker and kind of show you where they are, it'll give you an idea of, this is the fastest team in the race right now. And look, here we talk about bobbles, right? I don't know if they got that point, but it doesn't look like it. And we might see them having to cut back north to get that. So the navigation has been tricky. Some of the best navigators are having a difficult time figuring things out in this wooded area. And they might have gotten that CP, but it's hard to tell. They're going to probably circle back and get to the road, and then it's really just a quick shot up to the TA from there. I don't know that there are any other checkpoints for them to get before they get up to the next TA. So they're going to be moving pretty quickly from there. There are a couple small ones, but I would imagine we're going to see them up in that TA in the next 45 minutes or so. So maybe by the time we finish this broadcast, they will be in TA2 or TA1 and getting ready to get on the paddle. Speaking of the paddle, they're going to want to get to this paddle because it's starting to get warm. It is cooking outside. I don't know if you can see behind me, but it is a clear blue day. There are hardly any clouds in the sky. So there's going to be no break from the sun, and how difficult that is going to be. Now, we have had Brian Gatens and Mary Foster from the Dark Zone and Adventure Enablers who have been out on course. And in fact, we posted a video online, but we're going to bring it to you here now. This is from TA1, where Brian and Mary are going to kind of introduce you to what the racers are going to see as soon as they get there.
The paddling section of the 2025 U.S. Adventure Racing National Championship. Right about that?
Yes, ARS.
Which is also an ARWS point race. So make sure we always want to mention that here. These canoes are prepared and prepped. If our camera person can scan the canoes, we should give a full breath of what they're doing out here.
Probably hot boats waiting for the racers to come up.
Yeah, nice warm day, getting in a nice metal canoe should be refreshing on the water. Right now, we're about an hour away from the first teams coming in here, but they're doing a great job behind us, making their way through the first trekking section. Mary, any thoughts?
Teams are looking good. We hung out around, CP4 for a little while?
CP4 for a while, yep.
Saw most teams coming through. It's starting to get hot out here.
Yeah.
But they're going to get on the water. They're going to be on the water for at least 3 hours.
3 hours on the water.
CP16, right. We said it was?
Yeah, we were saying in the van that if you're going to be stuck somewhere hot, be stuck on the water, right? Dump stuff over your head, things like that. We are very grateful for all the volunteers we hear, including our volunteer camera person. Thank you very much. You're doing a great job. We will send this back to home headquarters back at the Ledger in Bentonville, where Jeff and Doug will do their magic and send this out to the world. So thanks for watching, and remember, follow us on social media. Thanks, everybody. Hi, everyone.
So when racers get into that TA, they're going to get their first look at those canoes. And let me just tell you, if you've done any adventure racing, if you come around the corner and you see those big steel canoes that are dented and mangled, and you saw the seats on some of them, you're not going to really be excited about the next 3 hours or so or more of paddling down the river. But the river should be moving pretty good. The videos that we have seen from there, the water has been moving really well. And so it should help and assist in getting down the river a little bit faster. And there's only one CP on that section, as if you remember from the course overview this morning, there's only one CP. So not a lot of navigation. Really, you're just going to have to be managing the little rapids and whitewater. Now, what I'll tell you is those canoes, because they are heavy, they're going to be taking on water. So I hope that you brought a baler or you are prepared to paddle to the side, get out, and dump your canoe. I just came from from the raid race up in Canada, and we had several swims, including a couple of paddles that went over a rapids that turned into a swim. And so if I was racing this race, I would probably not be securing my my gear in the actual canoe itself, because if you go over, your stuff is going to yard sail if it stays together at all. If racers were prepared, maybe inside their actual bag, they have it in a dry bag. So if it gets wet, not a big deal. You can keep it on your back and then you have no problem. So hopefully racers and teams are thinking about that going into some of these, and especially on these boats where they might have a little less control than normal, because those boats are super heavy and probably not as maneuverable. So we'll see how that kind of plays out as racers get to the next leg of the race. I would imagine that since there are two paddle sections, a section A and then a section B, a lot of the teams that you were seeing that are skipping some of these trekking points now will also be skipping paddle B. So again, if you are at home and you are watching your team, that doesn't mean that your team is out of the race. In fact, it probably means that that strategy is probably going to pay off later, where they can get more point-rich areas. Because on that second paddle section, there's only one CP. Now, you will miss the 5 CPs that are on the trek back to the TA, but is that worth another 4 hours of your time? Because that's what you have to start evaluating, is how many points per hour are you getting? And if you can get to a section where you can prioritize that point per hour or point per minute to a higher level, that's probably what teams are doing at this point. I would imagine, judging from where the tracker is right now, some of these bottom teams, it's still going to be another 3 hours or so before they get to that TA. So hopefully they're managing their heat. They took enough water or a filtration system so they can stop in some of the creeks if there are water that are coming into that section. Hopefully during this 12:30 lunch at the Ledger section, we are going to be joined by the Visit Bentonville people. They have been a great sponsor for this race, and we'll get to talk to them a little bit about what this race means to them and a little bit more about Bentonville. Again, we have more live broadcasts coming to you tonight. Tonight, the primetime dot watching is going to be at 5 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Hopefully, we're going to be joined by Mark Harris from Adventure Enablers Trackers. And so we are back. Let's go back to the tracker real quick, because we talked about navigational issues, right? This just happened while we were talking with Grit Racing. And so they went up a re-entrant, it looks like, got up, looked for the spot, thought maybe they had gone too far, but in fact, came back down, hit the road, re-attacked. I don't know if they're going far enough yet again, because it looks like, according to the tracker, that they may have backtracked a little bit. There is a slight lag in the tracking compared to where they are, but we'll find out more as we're talking. But even the best teams in this race are having difficult times with navigation and making sure they're getting the points. So if you're not as strong navigationally, you could be having even more trouble. And that's just going to add more and more time to an already long 13-mile trekking section at this point in the race. Right now, they've only been going for 3 hours and 45 minutes. It looks to me, based on the tracker, that they probably got the point and are heading back down. And maybe just the tracker didn't go all the way up to the point because it didn't hit on the satellite. So that would be my guess. And again, this is another good point for you at home, is if you're watching the tracker and you see your team go close to a point like this, but it doesn't register in the circle, it doesn't mean that they didn't get the point. Because I'm going to tell you, these top teams, probably I would say, if your team is anywhere in the top 10, they're not looking to skip anything. So those teams are all going to be going after every point. So if they go near it, they're not leaving without getting that point. So don't fret about the tracker not hitting it and not counting it. Mark Harris is sitting at TA1 right now. So when racers get there, they're going to take their e-punch and he's going to download it, and all of the racing standings will get adjusted accordingly. But yeah, we talked about those kind of bobbles and how those things can happen as we're moving along. But literally, as we've been speaking, they've gone back down towards the road. So my assumption is that they're already back at the road. If it refreshes, they're already back. So they're moving quick. Right now, you wonder if they know that they're in the lead. And we were talking about this right before the broadcast, is some of these teams are now getting to see Wadali moving themselves through the pack. And when you're an elite racer and you know who the other fast racers are, and you see a team that you expect to be way out in front of you, and you see them coming by you, that's got to buoy you and give you a little more confidence about where you are in the race. Now, they're going to have no idea that Wadali spent an extra 30 minutes circling back around almost down to the TA before coming back up. But all they're going to know is that's Wadali. They're the defending national champions, and we're right here. In fact, we were just ahead of them. Let's keep pushing. Because that's the mindset of the top teams. So, yeah, it's interesting to watch. Like I said, you see kind of a scattered group where some people are going on that north route. I really think that that northern route was probably the quicker of the two routes, and we'll be able to analyze that a little bit later. But if you look at the difference between High Point and Women of AR, High Point took the top route, and we could probably just, if you scroll down on their checkpoints, once you have them pulled up. Yep. Now go down underneath their checkpoints on the left there. You can see what time they hit CP5 and then what time they hit this last CP7. So it's a difference of a little over an hour, right? 11:09 to 12:12. And now let's do the same thing for Women of AR and see what kind of time difference that looks like. So they went from 5, and so obviously they are still moving kind of to where High Point is right now, and they hit 5 10 minutes after them and they're still not there, right? So that northern route does look a little bit faster. So I think that we are going to be joined here in a second by our special guest for this hour. Yeah, we're ready for her. Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm
Caitlin,
Doug. Nice to meet you. Have a seat.
Great.
Here is your microphone.
Fantastic.
All right, so your name is Kayleen, right?
Yes.
And what is your role with Visit Bentonville?
I am the CEO of Visit Bentonville. I've been there for about 20 years.
Awesome.
Yes.
What a difference this town has probably seen in the last 20 years.
Yes.
So what does it mean to be able to host the USARA National Championship to Bentonville?
Yeah, I think it's one of the things that I'm most excited about is it's a new opportunity for us to kind of showcase what we have here as a cycling destination, as a destination for tourism. It is anytime that we can feature that outdoor experience in Arkansas, it's important to us. I think that's what makes us unique. In what we've done, and the investments in the trail system and the investment in cycling and our mix of culinary and culture has been one of those things that we love, but it adds to that outdoor experience.
So, I mean, just to bring it, like, the Wall Street Journal named you guys like the capital of cool, which is really a unique nickname to have for a town.
Yeah. You can't pay for that.
Right? You can't, right? Like that's something you're like, thank you so much for doing that.
Exactly.
I hope somebody calls me the capital of cool at some point in my life. But no, what does that mean to you guys?
Yeah. I think anytime that you look at an experience and somebody like that says, hey, the capital of cool, when you step back and you go, okay, what makes us cool? And I think the innovation that's happening here, the investments that are happening here, the experiences that people are having when they're here, it's changing from people from visitors to residents. But it's and also I think the number one thing that I think I'm most proud of is the way that people make people feel when you come here, the warmth, the hospitality, and there's just this really, in a sense, hate to say it, but a cool vibe, you know?
I've noticed that since we've been here.
Well, good.
No, I really have. I'm not just saying that. Like it is a cool little town. Like there's so many things going on.
Yes.
And especially right here in the downtown area, around the Ledger,
Right.
like down by the square.
Yeah.
You know, it's Bentonville, you know, some people might just know it because of Walmart,
Yes.
right? Like that's the headquarters for Walmart.
Right.
But like for those of us that are adventure racers that do outdoor activities, talk about some of the outdoor activities that Bentonville provides.
Yeah. Well, I think, you know, our single track trail system is like no other. And I say that, you know, we don't have those major climbs that you have to work so hard for. It's more of a flow experience. You have some small climbs, but you can ride a lot longer in the trail system that we have in the area because it's not that massive climb and you have to rest, you know, at the top or whatever. You can just ride all day long. And the accessibility to our trail system and the progressiveness of our trail system, where they're purpose built to make sure that we can service the beginners that are riding to the advanced riders that want to sky through the air. There's, you know, jumps and drops and all of that we have got included, but we also have the trails that like myself is going to be on. I'm a rookie rider. I didn't start riding till later on in life. And, you know, I have 2 or 3 loops that I love, and those are the ones that I probably stay on. And my wheels stay on the ground. And if they're off the ground, we are in trouble.
That's generally the case.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you make that conscious effort, but I think that outdoor experience that we have, but the accessibility of it to the community. And we talk a lot about trailheads are people's driveways. You know what I mean? It's like that accessibility is unique. I think that, you know, even within, you know, a 45 minutes to an hour and a half to 2 hours, you can climb, you can go down the Buffalo River. So it might not be happening right in Bentonville, but it's this hub that you have that you can get on your bike, you can ride to your dinner, for a beer, to meet friends. You can ride all day long. You can also the next day get in a car and drive 30 minutes and be, or 45 minutes to an hour and be in the Buffalo National River, or you can be climbing at Horse Barn. You can be climbing in the areas in here. So you have all these opportunities to make it happen. So it is really one of those things that I think you're in the natural state. We're just part of it and we get to enjoy it, but we have this amenity with the outdoors that is unique to anywhere else, where you don't have to drive to get on the trails. You can park your car and never get back in your car if you want.
Wow.
And be in our trail system. The other thing is we have an amazing paved trail system. So if you're, take a leisurely stroll and you can go into, 36 miles up and down Northwest Arkansas. And so you can be in another city to experience that.
Wow.
And then get on some other single track trails. So you can really connect and ride almost a little over, right around between 1,500 to 2,000 trail systems in the region. And so it's amazing.
That's a lot more than I even thought was in this area. And our racers are going to get to experience a lot of the single track, right? They're going to be hitting roughly 33 miles of single track probably tomorrow.
Yes.
The lead teams will hit it really early in the morning. What is that single track like? Because I've seen some videos from it.
Yeah.
There's some very unique trails.
Yes.
Like a Tweety Bird trail that just has like a bunch of Tweety Bird stuff, and you're going to see a Bigfoot and things like that. What makes those trails unique?
I think one of the things that I valued the most as a non-cyclist and now as a little bit of a rider is that we don't create just a trail system for you to go out and ride. We create an experience within our community, and the art, we're including that art. And, the philosophy of Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art is, how do we intersect the outdoors experiences with the arts and culture experience? And you see that at Crystal Bridges with that. So we've tied that into that trail system philosophy. And so on our trails, you're going to see art throughout that whole trail system. We even, some of our rides from the Masterpiece that you're riding, it is a piece of art. It was designed to be a piece of art that you can ride on. And I think those are the things that there's a very intentionality going on when we're developing trails and experiences. And I think that's what, go back to Capital of Cool. Those are the things that I think are that we've created here when we're developing trail systems, when we're developing experiences. There's an intentional effort by people in the community making those decisions.
Well, and I saw a photo of one of the tunnels where a sculpture had been made to make it look like a camera, so it has a hand and looks like a big thing. So there's just some very unique trail systems in the area, and that's cool. And there are a lot of racers, obviously, that where we race, but our spouses do not.
Yes.
And how is Bentonville going to cater to those people?
Yeah.
I mean, you talked a little bit about the entertainment part of this area.
Yeah.
How has that been built in this area?
Well, I think, one of the things, I think it was kind of built alongside of it. When the trails were being developed in the early 2000s, Crystal Bridges was announced in 2005 and opened up in 2011. So I think all of that was happening at the same time. What it did, though, is it spawned growth in the culinary experience. So we have, and somebody the other day, we had some folks in from Chicago and areas, and they're like, you punch above your weight in the culinary experience. And, it's nice to hear that from somebody from a bigger city. They weren't expecting that. And I think we love that. You have to see it, you have to taste it, you have to feel it to understand that aspect of it. And I think we also, with Crystal Bridges of Museum of American Art, that experience there alone, with the art that you have from that colonial period all the way to the contemporary time, you get to see art that people only get to see in the East Coast and West Coast. You're getting to see something that you don't normally get to see. You can spend an hour there to see it, or you can spend 4 to 5 hours there to see it. And then, of course, we'll get in the game this week, which is all focused on the sports. That's our every other, I think it's the first Friday or the second Friday of the month that goes off to remind us.
We were wondering if that was actually a real, we're there's no weather out here.
No.
There's no
It's the
tornado
test.
warning,
It's the
so it's just a test. Just a test, folks. Everything's okay.
Yeah. And I think those experiences there. Then also what I've loved about our community is we have these amazing boutique shopping that have creating that they're not your chain stores. They're experiences that are really local people going out and saying, here's what, is going to be an experience for you. So it gives them that opportunity. And those are my favorite. I go to a small community, and my husband, allows me to only go to 2 or 3 of them because I come home with multiple items. So I think that's one of the unique experiences. The culinary, the accessibility of it all in one area is huge.
How long is this going to go on?
I don't know.
It's so long.
I don't know if you can hear me or not.
Yeah. We'll have to find out from people at home. It is really loud, and it's really loud in here too. So we apologize, but it's better safe than sorry, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We've got.
You can just wait just 1 second, yeah,
Right.
or maybe 2 seconds. I don't know. It is a little long. I know that.
No, and that's fine, because you'd rather be safe if you need that.
Yes.
You want to
want
make
it to be
sure that it's
working.
going to work. Yes. In adventure racing, we talk a lot about making sure that you are in control of yourself and working within your limits, right?
Yes.
But your signature block is a quote from Mario Andretti, and one of our lead teams right now had a big bobble this morning because they probably were going a little too fast and were over their skis a little bit too much. But the quote says, "If everything is under control, you're going too slow." So tell me what that means to you and how that kind of equates to what you have built here.
Yeah. First thing I'd say is I'm going to tell you one of my philosophies here is we solve for yes. But I say this often is we live in overwhelming goodness. Every day is a little bit overwhelming, but the things that we're working with are good. They're all good in our area. The challenges I have or the risks that I have. And I think when I talk about, and a lot of people are like, Kayleen, you need to slow down. And I don't have the personality to slow down.
Neither do I.
I would rather be going. I'd rather be the risk taker, the ambitious one. I want to exceed those standards of every day making things happen. I want to see what we can do to be successful and show that. And I think for me, if we're going too slow, that means for my personal opinion is, we're doing what we have to do to get the job done. And my expectations is that what are we not doing that we should be doing? And what are we looking at? And I always want us to be looking at, I'm not going to be that complacent CEO or the complacent community. I want to see what's next for us. And I think that's when I think of slowing down as like, hey, let's sit back and think there. I think there needs to be a work-life harmony and and a balance in that sense. But I also think that if we're sitting back and just doing our job, we could probably be successful in Bentonville. But I want to be leading the effort and making sure that we're looking at what's next for us. What should we be looking at? Where should we be going? What are we missing? What are those gaps? And I think that's the kind of philosophy I have. And I think that quote makes it, but a lot of people know me that I talk fast, I work fast, everything I do is fast. And one of my staff said the other day, we live in sprint mode with you. And
Well, complacency is the thief of growth,
yeah,
right?
I agree.
And
Yes.
so, I think a lot of adventure racers have that mentality.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're always pushing the envelope. We're
Yeah.
doing crazy things that other people don't do.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah,
And so
yes.
we really appreciate the partnership with Visit Bentonville and bringing the two together. I know there's been other adventure races that have been hosted in this area,
Yeah.
but having the national championship here, it means a lot to people. I know it means a lot to you
Yeah, it
guys to
does.
have us here. And I hope that people at home that didn't get to come here this year for the race will come here and
Yes.
experience some of the
bet.
outdoor trails, the things that are going on, because this is a destination you want to come to if you
Yeah.
have any kind of adventure racing background. So
And an experience. We hope that you come, and you don't have to ride if you don't want to. We can create experiences for you there. But anybody that's associated with the USARA is adventure riders. They're going to come and ride.
Yeah.
But they also have more to do while they're here. So it's
Yeah.
exciting to have them.
absolutely. Well, Kayleen, thank you so much for joining us today. Do you have anything else that you would like for people at home to know
No,
about?
we just want to invite everybody here. I know that some people, it'll be their first time ever being here.
Yep.
Hopefully the people out there are, planning their next trip.
Well, there you have it. This is what makes Bentonville special. And thank you so much for joining
Thank
us.
you.
I really
I love
appreciate it.
Thank you. This is great. It's an honor.
No problem. All right, so we're going to continue talking about dots here for a little bit, and but thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Sorry.
And no, it's fine. We may be able to go live to TA1 with Brian and Mary here in a second. I'll need headphones from the producers to be able to hear them and talk to them. But, oh, let's see. All right, I think we're ready. Are we live? Oh my gosh. Hello, Brian. Hello, Mary. How is it out there? Yeah, I mean, so we just had the CEO of Visit Bentonville join us on the set and had a great kind of explanation of what all is around here. But what are you guys experiencing out there at the TA?
So right now we're at TA1, which is right over there. So what's happening is that teams are entering from this direction. They're crossing this old decrepit automotive bridge. They're going across here. They're climbing over that. They're dropping down into the TA where the volunteers are, signing in, getting their trail mail. So if you're sending trail mail, keep sending it. Then they're getting their warm boats and they're getting on the water. Is that right, Mary?
Sounds about right.
That's about right. That's what's going on.
Those boats remind me of like World War II submarines because they are big and metal and
Rough.
crazy.
They're rough.
Yeah, you're getting the full experience with those boats.
Like you're taking it old school with those. Have you guys, I mean, obviously you guys were out there on course and you saw some teams. What have you been hearing from people?
Folks are, well, what you go first, Mary. You were talking about a second ago. You go first.
So we've had two all-female teams come in. Just now we've had Fragile Flowers and Barf Barf come in. They're doing great. They're moving well. They're super stoked. They've made some really smart decisions, trying to touch every part of the course. And doing that, they cut off some of the trek. But they're doing great.
Did they say whether they thought they were going to do one part of the paddle or both? Have you talked to people about that?
So Olga asked a really smart question of Mike Garrison when we ran into them on one of the roads below CP4 earlier, about if they choose to not continue on the paddle, the last 8-mile section of paddle, whether they will be still full course or short course. And they will be short course because they're effectively skipping a TA, which are mandatory. So I did not hear the final decision on what they had decided to do there, but it seemed at one point they were considering not doing the full paddle.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the teams we talked earlier, I think a lot of the teams that skipped some of the Trek CPs, you know, it's a lot easier to drop points when you've already dropped points. So,
That's true.
you know, I think getting ahead, especially with the heat, is going to entice a lot of people to skip that second section.
Yeah, it depends, right? I mean, according to our friend from Arkansas Fish and Wildlife, he was maintaining that the water was flowing pretty well for them, that it should be no problem going down the river.
Okay.
And so we think they're going to cover this distance quickly. They are riding these huge tin cans, but you still got people paddling. As watch this guy fall in. He might go in. Wait, he's not going in. It was close though. And so we think that maybe the distance will be covered a lot quicker for these teams. But that being said, it is exposed and it is hot out here. That is the theme of the day.
Garrison, I think, gave us a time estimate of 3 to 3.5 hours.
Yeah, for the entire thing.
Yeah,
For
the entire
for A
thing.
and B.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And if you look, and it's 1:10 here Central Standard Time. That means that at 4 o'clock is that cutoff. So teams
Yeah.
have to make it halfway through by 4 o'clock, and so teams have to start moving to get here. That's going to be that's the theme of the day. And if you look at those dots, while they're getting closer to us, they really got to get going.
Yeah,
We've
I
had
mean,
3 teams in.
you
Yeah.
should start seeing
Yeah, we've had 3 teams out of 77,
75.
75.
75.
We're totally messing with the numbers at this point. It's 70
Oh, my
something.
union, my shop steward to file a protest. But now if you notice, like look how quickly around there. Look at the speed at which that team, on apparently kind of low level water, but it's not, is making really good progress. So I think they'll be surprised by the speed at which they cover this paddle.
Well,
They
no, and
might get the
I agree with
pleasure
that.
of seeing the hog suckers.
Hot suckers, yeah. Before we were told that this river is very, very clean because the interestingly named hog suckers fish, they come this far upstream, and that's a sign of a very, very healthy river. We learned that today.
Excellent. Well, you
We had a
should
great
start
chat with the
seeing
wildlife.
the lead team, which is Grit, coming into the TA relatively soon.
Right.
They've
Mary's
been
going to go to
moving-
the tracker right now while we're chatting.
Yeah,
Take a look at the dot.
they've been moving really fast. I think they've got one checkpoint left before coming up to the TA, and they are moving.
Yeah, Mary's checking her magic rectangle right now.
Well, we did, and we also discussed, and you guys can maybe chime in on this. What do you think that the toll is that they are having to pay to try to dig that deep to
We actually
make up
talked a
that
bit
gap?
about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually asked that specific question to Garrison because, you know, he'll know the best, right? He knows the course. He knows that team really well. And he doesn't think that them pushing that hard to catch up is going to be an issue. So time will tell.
I mean,
Right,
the good thing is they get to get off of their feet here for a couple hours and just paddle downriver. So they'll
Right.
have a little time to recover, get some nutrition, get some hydration, and be able to finish, you know, that paddle section pretty quickly.
Oh, yeah, they're closing in on 15.
But yeah,
Yeah, and I mean, you think is, you know, Wadali's Wadali, right? They're strong racers, they're champion racers, and if you think about the entire field, if someone's going to have a challenging start leading into a huge comeback, that's the team that's going to do it, right? If you bet the averages and the odds, that's who you see there. So I'm much more comfortable in how well they're going to bounce back from this, right?
Yeah.
And also too, as you go from here, you're on the water. While it's still exposed, it's not too bad. And then after that, you're then able to continue on the bike, right? So they're off their feet for quite a while.
yeah, I know. I think that's great. I mean, you can't count them out. It does have to kind of buoy the hopes of other people that are seeing them that we're probably not expecting to see
Team.
them.
Right. Yeah, we have a team coming through here. Apparently, we have teams passing over right now.
All
Hopefully
right.
we're staying in the right direction. Very nice.
Woo.
Very nice. Hopefully you're getting shots of those teams coming across. Great job, guys. Good decisions. Wonderful. Good to see you. Very nice. That would be the foolish ones coming through right now.
Nice, nice.
Nice.
16?
Yep. Teams 12, team 16. Is our orientation
Yes.
good
you're
here?
Yeah, looks
Good.
good.
I'll go there for a second.
Um,
So we're proud to see these teams come in. More and more energy coming into the TA. Obviously, we are full of volunteers here. They're ready. They're rolling. Handing out, reading trail mail out loud. So once again, if you're doing trail mail at home, it is being read to the racers as they come in.
Maybe that'll be the last thing that we cover before we go to the next break is kind of walking people through how to leave that trail mail. So if you're watching at home, you go onto the tracker and we'll show you how to leave trail mail for your teams. So not everybody has done that, but I will tell you as a racer who has gotten trail mail, it definitely boosts your spirits to hear from your family and friends. We know you're out there, but hearing it from you, it makes it even better.
That's a great point to make. How's the out of curiosity, Mary? How's the air conditioning back at the ledge?
Listen, it's tough. Jeff had to put on a jacket earlier.
Yeah.
Sorry. Not sorry.
Good. I'm glad it's working out well for you guys.
Just keep track of all the 70-something teams out there, Brian. And we
70 something.
we
Yeah, another team
appreciate you
coming
guys
through.
coming to us live
So
from
hold
the
on,
TA.
wait. We have a team coming through. Look at this.
Oh,
Full steam ahead.
Yeah.
There we go. There they are coming through.
See if they want to
Very
stop
nice.
an interview for a second.
Do they want? Can we talk to you guys for a second? You're gonna keep rolling. Okay, here we go.
All
Sure.
right.
You guys go right here, stand right here. We get the Illinois River in the background.
This is amazing. Full steam ahead.
Hi.
Welcome
Yes.
to the
So how-
live show.
Nice job, guys.
Hello. Hi.
So, Jesse, tell us about your team and introduce them to everybody at home.
Well, I'll let them introduce themselves, but I'm racing with two amazing high school kids from Full Steam Ahead, and so I'll let them introduce themselves.
I'm Jocelyn Henry. I'm a senior in high school, racing with Full Steam Ahead.
She's lead navigator.
Yeah, lead now.
I'm Logan Kisselbach. I'm a sophomore in high school, with same club as her, and I am the rabbit. Or no, I get to have all the fun. Yeah, and Compass. I get to have all the fun. And
You're the punch
everything,
monkey,
so.
then. I love it.
Yeah, exactly.
So what is
We have a
Jesse
different name for it,
actually
but it's
doing?
not G-rated.
Yeah.
They came up with it, by the way.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So Jesse, are you just tagging along and they're dragging you through the course?
Yeah.
Nice job.
We had a pre-race meeting, and I told us
Yeah.
I'll do as much or as little as you want, and they wanted to do everything. So I said, okay, I'm here for fun, and just maybe stop when they're making huge mistakes, which they haven't done. They've been doing an amazing job navigating and making smart choices about which checkpoints to get and to drop. And so it's been great hanging out with them and feeling kind of young again. And yeah, they've been doing amazing. It's awesome.
Well, being the youngest competitors in our national championship, we're glad that you guys are here. We hope that people at home enjoy getting to spend a minute with you. I know your friends and family will probably be excited to talk to you. Keep up the great work, and hopefully we'll see you later down the course.
Yeah.
All right.
Good job. Thanks.
Thank you very
Appreciate
much.
it. You guys doing
Stay
great.
cool.
Great. You're doing great. Here we go. Doing a great job. Clearly, they're carrying tub. The guy's a wreck. Yeah, so that's we're gonna hop down now. We're gonna go in. We want to get some video of our teams passing through the TA. We'll update you on our 77 teams that are out here. And any other questions for us?
No, thank you guys. We'll see you at the next one.
Thank you.
We're gonna start.
Go get
adding
'em.
teams.
All right. All right. So there you have it. That was awesome. I love being able to actually talk to teams out there, and then being able to be joined by the youngest team of the race is pretty spectacular. So the last thing that we'll do before we end for today, because we're about at our time for this afternoon, is let's take you to the tracker and let's walk you through how to leave trail mail. So on the enabled tracking site for the race, if you look up at the very top, there is a bar that has where you would normally try to find your people. There's a little envelope looking thing that looks like an email. And you can click on that. Or if you're on your team and you're watching them, you can click on the envelope that's on their window. So there's one of two choices that you can do there. There's also the envelope there. When you click on that envelope, it will pull up a window. And actually, that's to read all of the trail mail when you're on that. If you click on the one that's at the top, it will say select your team. So you go down and you select your team. So let's find Full Steam Ahead. And we'll leave them a little message here with some love from the Ledger. You write in your message and say, you guys looked fantastic at TA2. Keep up the great work. And thanks for the interview. And then you go down and put your name there so they know who it is. So if you have any inside jokes or or you actually want to leave your name, feel free to type in what you want there so your team will know who it is. And then you hit send. Now what that does is it populates it so that every one of you at home can see who has left mail for your people. And if you go down to their page, you'll pull up their team sheet. Trying to find it. And when you scroll down, you see there's the message right down there. Now, what the volunteers are doing out on the course is they're printing these up. And when they come into TA, they're handing them to them at certain TAs so that they get their messages from home. And it does give you a boost to be able to read those things. I have shed a few tears during races, getting messages from my boys at home and my wife and from friends, and I've had good laughs. So that's a great way to just stay connected with your team even while they're out there on the race. So go to the tracking page and make sure that you leave them a message. Our next show is this evening at 5 o'clock. It's our primetime broadcast. We're going to be doing some great dot watching. We'll have a much better idea of who has gotten to the second part of the paddle, who is choosing to go onto the bike section and get to the next O course, which is the photo O course that is after that if you skip the others. Who has completed that, gone to the TA, and is staying full course. As you heard from Mary Foster, direct from Mike Garrison, if they do not hit that TA, they will be short coursed, and you will probably start seeing a new section on the tracker that says short coursed, because they will be listed separately than the full course teams of each male, female, and co-ed. So there will be a short course option down at the bottom. In the meantime, make sure that you're going over to USARA.com and checking out all of the videos. We're going to be posting videos from the paddle section, trying to update things as we get them. So all of that stuff will be there. We're also posting on our stories. So go to ar.watch, follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and check out the stories. We'll be saving them so that you can see them and the racers can see them later. But AR Adventure Racing Insider and the Dark Zone podcast are also streaming to their Instagram and Facebook. So make sure that you're going there and seeing additional videos that we're not going to include in the live stream that will only be seen there. So make sure that you're going there. Make sure that you're following USARA. And we're going to be back in a few hours. Until then, we're going to enjoy the nice air conditioning in here while those guys are roasting outside. We hope that you have a great Friday afternoon. And we will bring you more live coverage this afternoon from the 2025 United States Adventure Racing National Championship. We'll see you then.
Hi everyone, this is Brian.
And Mary.
And we are sitting in the canoes that the teams will be taking down the Illinois River as part of the paddling section of the 2025 U.S. Adventure Racing National. Am I right about that?